Hey everyone, and welcome back to our story corner. Today, we're diving into one of the most famous tales ever told. A story that has taught a valuable lesson for generations. The Tortoise and the Hare. It's a classic for a reason. So let's get into it. Once upon a time, in a sunny green meadow, lived a very speedy hare. He was proud, oh so proud of how fast he could run. He'd zip and zoom across the fields, boasting to anyone who would listen. "I'm the fastest animal in the whole wide world," he'd declare. "No one can beat me." One bright morning, the hare spotted a tortoise, moving along at his usual unhurried pace. The hare, feeling particularly cheeky, bounced over to the tortoise. "Well, hello there, Mr. Slowpoke," he said with a mocking laugh. You move so slowly. Do you ever actually get anywhere? At this rate, it must take you a whole day just to cross this field." The other animals nearby giggled, but the tortoise simply pulled his head out of his shell, looked calmly at the hare, and replied, "Yes, I do get places. And sometimes I get there sooner than you might think." The hare burst out laughing. He laughed so hard he rolled on the grass. "You? Race me?" he wheezed, wiping a tear from his eye. "Oh, this is too good. All right, slow coach, you're on. This will be the easiest race I've ever won. It'll be hilarious to watch you try." He agreed to the race, mostly for the fun of it and to show off his incredible speed once and for all. They asked the wise old fox to be the judge. The fox, always fair, agreed. He trotted to a tall oak tree at the far end of the meadow. "This tree will be the finish line," he announced. "The first one to touch it wins." He then marked a starting line in the dirt with his paw. The tortoise and the hare stood at the line. The hare was practically vibrating with energy, stretching his long legs and wiggling his nose. The tortoise just stood there, calm and ready. "On your marks," the fox called out. "Get set, go!" And they were off. In a flash, a literal blur of brown and white fur, the hare was gone. Dust flew up from the path as he sprinted ahead, leaving the tortoise in his wake. He was so far ahead in just a few seconds that when he looked back, he couldn't even see the tortoise anymore. The tortoise, true to his nature, just kept going, one slow, steady step after another, plod, plod, plod. The hare ran about halfway to the finish line and then stopped. He looked back again, still no sign of the tortoise. "Huh," he thought to himself. "This is ridiculous. I'm so far ahead I could probably take a nap and still win. It'll make my victory even more impressive. I'll let him catch up a little, just to make it interesting." So, finding a comfortable, shady spot under a large bush right beside the path, the hare lay down. The sun was warm, a gentle breeze was blowing, and the hare felt very sleepy. He yawned a big yawn. "Just a quick little nap," he mumbled to himself as he closed his eyes. "He'll never catch up." And within minutes, he was fast asleep, dreaming of victory parades and shiny trophies. Meanwhile, the tortoise just kept moving. He didn't stop. He didn't get distracted. He kept his eyes on the path ahead, his mind on the finish line. He saw the birds singing in the trees and the butterflies fluttering by, but he just kept going. Slowly, but steadily. Step by step, he plodded along the course. After what felt like a very long time, the tortoise reached the spot where the hare was sleeping. He saw the hare curled up, snoring peacefully under the bush. The tortoise didn't say a word. He didn't wake him. He simply continued on his way, maintaining his slow, constant pace. Plod, plod, plod. He passed the sleeping hare and kept his focus on the goal. The oak tree was getting closer and closer. The hare slept on. He slept for a long, long time. The sun moved across the sky. Finally, a little fly buzzed around his nose, and he woke up with a twitch and a snort. He stretched and looked around, feeling refreshed. "Ah, what a lovely nap," he said. "Now, where's that slow old tortoise? I suppose I should finish this race." He looked back down the path. Nothing. He looked ahead towards the finish line and his heart skipped a beat. He could see a small, dark shape moving ever so slowly, but it was incredibly close to the giant oak tree. It was the tortoise. The tortoise was just a few feet away from winning. Panic set in. The hare jumped to his feet. "Oh no!" he cried. He began to run as he had never run before. He was a blur of motion, his powerful legs pumping, eating up the distance in massive leaps. The wind whistled past his ears. "I can still make it. I can still make it," he thought desperately. The other animals who had gathered at the finish line began to cheer. Go, Tortoise, go! They shouted. The tortoise could hear them, and with one final determined effort, he stretched out his neck and touched his nose to the bark of the old oak tree. Just a second later, the hare zipped past, a whirlwind of fur and regret, but it was too late. The tortoise had already crossed the finish line. He had won the race. The hare skidded to a stop, panting and exhausted, staring in disbelief. He had lost. He, the fastest animal in the meadow, had lost to the slowest. The fox trotted over and raised the tortoise's foot. "The winner is the tortoise," he declared. All the animals cheered for the humble victor. The hare stood there, ashamed and embarrassed. He had been so sure of himself, so arrogant, that he had let his own pride defeat him. The tortoise, ever so gracious, simply smiled and said, "Slow and steady wins the race." And that's the lesson we can all take away from this story. It's not always about being the fastest or the flashiest. Sometimes the key to success is just being persistent, consistent, and never giving up, no matter how slow your progress seems. Thank you so much for joining me for this timeless fable.